Had this to say when asked about Obama's ban on interrogation tactics like waterboarding. He said, quote, "I'll just tell you that there are people at Gitmo that will kill American people at a drop of a hat, and I don't believe that persuasion is going to work. Therapy isn't going to cause terrorists to change their mind." Alex Conant is a Republican strategist. Margie O'Meara is a Democratic pollster. All right, welcome to both of you. Alex, George W. Bush now going to follow Dick Cheney's lead and start criticizing this president, despite the fact that he wouldn't do that?
No, not at all. In fact, if you look at his quotes, including the quote you just read, he went out of his way not to mention President Obama, not to refer to any specific Obama policies. Instead, he was offering his opinions, and frankly, his opinions match what the new NBC poll finds, which is a lot of people are worried about the size of government. A lot of people are worried about our closing down Guantanamo without a plan for what to do with the detainees. That's what he was talking about in his speech yesterday. He was not criticizing the Obama administration.
Alex, it is true that, in fact, we find that perhaps the honeymoon is over for President Obama, that while the American people still like him personally, they are not happy about the deficit numbers. They're concerned about government's reach into the private sector. But, Margie, I think it's worth putting out, too, look at this. Who's responsible for the budget deficit? The Bush administration. They don't blame President Obama. They blame Bush, right?
Right, absolutely. I mean, we tried it Bush's way, and we ended up with increase in the deficit, economic instability, political instability around the world. It's no surprise that he's out there trying to defend his legacy a little bit, because his legacy is not holding up very well. Meanwhile, you have, well, we're making tough decisions. President Obama has to make some tough decisions. Polls show that people feel more optimistic than they did a few months ago about the economy.
And, Alex, when you talk about the Republicans, we found the lowest approval rating for the Republican Party ever in the NBC News Wall Street Journal polls history. That's got to be pretty disappointing to somebody like you.
Well, we have some work to do, obviously, but we also have time to rebuild. The next presidential election isn't for 4 years. I think we're going to have a lot of great potential candidates out there. Mitt Romney, Tim Pawlenty. I mean, these are the future of the party, and I think people get to know them better. We'll see some of our own numbers improving. But I think that the governing party is also in serious trouble. Nancy Pelosi's poll numbers are lower than Dick Cheney's poll numbers. As you mentioned, Barack Obama's poll numbers are starting to slip. A lot of his policies are very unpopular, and people are very concerned about the size of the deficit, something that's only going to explode during the Obama administration over the next 4 years.
Margie, is that what our poll shows, that his policies are unpopular?
No, people are, I mean, President Obama says that he worries about the deficit. So it's okay for people to, it's not inconsistent for people to think that President Obama is doing a good job, which they do, and to be concerned about the deficit and be concerned about the economy. Those are all, that's a consistent set of views to have.
He hasn't acted on those concerns. He's done nothing to cut the deficit since he's been in office. In fact, he's only made it bigger thanks to the stimulus program and all of his other spending that he's proposing.
Studies have shown, no, there was a study recently, if you look, there was a study that looked at the amount of deficit that came from new Obama policies, and it was infinitesimal. By and large, that came from President Bush and from former President Bush's policies. It came from continuation of some of those things, and very little of it is new and now new honest accounting and honest budget accounting, which we didn't have before. And so that's really where that comes from. And so having concern about it as a people is different from blaming Obama. No, that's different. Saying I'm concerned about the deficit is different from saying I think Obama is doing something wrong. And we're seeing that people are giving him great ratings across the board on a variety of issues. And the truth is,
Except that, Margie, there is one key finding, that is that fewer than half of Americans have confidence in the president's policies to improve the economy. Is he going to have to do more to show that he can improve the economy and to gain the trust of the American people on that very critical issue?
I think a lot of that has to do with how difficult the economic challenges are, rather than concern that President Obama doesn't have the right policies or isn't up to the task. And we're facing some big challenges, and it's going to take a little while before we see more movement. But we have already seen movement, and in your same poll and in a New York Times poll released today, people feel much better about, they feel more optimistic and better about their economic situation, about the national economy than they did a few months ago, than they did last fall. So that's movement that is going to then translate to movement in some of those other dimensions as well.
This has been This has been an interesting debate. Margie O'Meara, Alex Conant, great to have both of you on. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Nora.
And let's go over to Monica now, because she's live at the satellite desk with an update on the search for 2 teen murder suspects. Monica.
Yeah, we told you about this manhunt yesterday. 14-year-old Ty